What is up, everyone? This week we're going to look at synthesis with a sampler on its very basic level. We're going to take a sound source and synthesize a new sound with the ASR 10. So guys, I hope you liked the vid. Please leave your comments. Happy to answer any questions that you may have or not have, or just want to, anyway, I don't know. See you in 2 weeks. Peace. Okay, so let's get to making a sound out of a regular ordinary sample off of a record and use the capabilities in the ASR 10 to make a sound that will sound like a playable instrument that we can play just as if it were a synthesized sound from a synthesizer. So let's just play the record. Actually, let me get the ASR 10 ready to sample. I'll hit yes, play the record, and now we're sampling. This little part here is what we want. There was a little sustained French horn, just for about probably 3 seconds. That's what we're going to take. That's the easiest thing. So right now I'm just going to edit to get to the start point of that part there. Let's see if we can find it. So what I'm doing is I'm just scrolling through the sample with the data bar so I get to the part that I want to hear. There it is. That part right there. That's what I want. So that's good. That's where I want to start. Now I'll just chop off the remaining part at the end. So that's it. That's what we're going to use. So I'm going to truncate the beginning and the end points that I don't want so that I can just work on that little section that we've just heard. So I'm going to truncate wave sample. I hit yes, and it just lops off the beginning and the end, leaves the middle. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and normalize the sample so that it's basically as loud as it possibly can be. Okay, so that's it. Now in order for us to be able to manipulate this the way that we want to is we're going to extend this wave sample here so that it repeats itself indefinitely. So we'll go to edit the sample and scroll to loop. So now we're looping. It's an okay loop. You can still hear a bit of a click. And you can fine tune the start and end points till you get a really smooth loop, or you can process your loop in the command wave function, and you'll get a bunch of presets just to make quick and dirty loops from. So if you go to command wave, you have a bunch of options. You can do a crossfade loop, there's one called a reverse loop, there's one called an ensemble loop, and basically these take the start and the end point and mesh them together in different ways or different algorithms so that they end up playing smoothly. So we've gone ahead and done a reverse crossfade loop as compared to the other one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep that. So now that we have a relatively rough loop, we're gonna go and play with the dynamics of the sound so that we can get to behave as a keyboard instrument would on a synthesizer or whatever. So the dynamics we can play around with in Edit Amp, which has all the dynamic functions. So what we want now is to get to sustain. So now it's sounding a little bit more like a piano. I'm just going to go up and get the volume up a little bit louder. So now we have a little bit of a click in the beginning, which I want to get rid of. We can do two things. We can go and actually edit the actual sample, or we can play around with the envelope to get it to have a little bit of a smoother attack. Going to do is actually manipulate the sample itself. So if you go to Command Amp, you have a fade-in function, which actually operates on the actual wave sample itself. So I want a sharp, just slope on the very front end of the sample so that I can get rid of that little click. So I want to play with maybe the first two actual samples of it, and I want a sharp slope. So I've done that here. Here's a new version. Here's the older version with the click. Here's the other version without. So I'm going to keep that. And now we have something that sounds somewhere between a vibraphone and an electric piano. Okay, so final thing, just we have the sound, extended the loop, play with the dynamics. Last simple thing to do is play around with the filter. And I happen to have loaded up the Waveboy Resonant Filter effects. And I know a lot of you wanted to hear what they sound like before you spend 39 bucks to buy it. So I've just loaded up basic preset. Slow sweep filter is what it's called, and we're gonna see what the sound, which we started with a record and now we're at something completely different. So there you go. Saved yourself a lot of money because you could have bought yourself a synthesizer, and you'll find that with a little work you can be your own synth programmer. And with a sampler as powerful as the ASR 10 and the EPS and the 16 Plus, you can build sounds from anything. And the possibilities are up to you as to how far you want to take it. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Please rate, subscribe, check out my videos, and see you on Facebook. Take care.